Destiny is mine 恐れしても全ての未来途切れぬより Should I friend of life 痛みを乗り越えるたび心は永遠に研ぎ澄まされる繰り返される宿命の最果てで光地海に近い Getting through 生きる意味は世界に残すかな
Heaven's Falling Down has two different versions, which serve as the second and third opening sequence to Part 6 of the Jojo's Bizarre Adventure anime, Stone Ocean. I'm going to analyze the second version of Heaven's Falling Down and showcase its use of visual rhetoric and how well I think it's utilized. To start, the opening is done in the very unique 3D manga-esque style that all of the openings in the series were done through until the start of Part 4, where the openings transitioned into 2D. The 3D animation style returning in all of the openings for Part 6 is one of the first elements that represent the idea of one's origin and destiny in familial bonds. This opening starts off by presenting us with the main character of this story, Jolene Kujo. In Part 6, Jolene is shown to be a youth thrown into prison for murder. She's taken the full blame for a murder that's later revealed to have been a setup by a devotee of Dio, an egotistical vampire who is the adopted and sworn brother of Jonathan Joestar. Jonathan is Jolene's great-great-great-grandfather and the protagonist of Part 1. This blood feud between Dio and the Joestar family has lasted since the 1880s and is one of the main sources of conflict throughout the series. The camera quickly zooms around Jolene and transitions to a younger version of her father, Jotaro Kujo, in his fight to where he defeated Dio. The opening then gives a small recap to what's happened to Jolene and her father's relationship. Initially, an emotionally distant and absent father, he appeared to Jolene in prison and attempted to help her break out. He knew of the truth behind her sentencing and warned her of the conspiracy against their family, and to show that he did indeed care for his daughter. After being cornered by the enemy as they tried to escape, it's revealed that this was all a setup in order to get Jotaro there, so that the enemy can steal his supernatural power, claiming it to be the most invincible power of all, stopping time. Their powers being tied to their souls, this results in Jotaro being debilitated in a comatose-like state. Now knowing what's truly at stake, Jolene stays at the prison in order to get the soul of her father back. She succeeds in obtaining it, and now she awaits for the news of her father awakening from his slumber. This is all recollected and shown to us in the first third of the opening, followed by Jolene staring at her parents' portrait and staring into the stars, which lets the audience contemplate on how she's feeling. Hope, loss, guilt, resoluteness, or even motivation. We then are shown silhouettes of the main cast with different patterns and symbols displayed inside of them. These symbols and elements represent different changes the characters have experienced throughout the story, and give hints to their character and personality for people watching who may not already know what's going on. Now, Jolene is supported by her friends as they all stare towards the same star together. Jolene is no longer being reserved now that she has support, and the viewer can see that she's ready to take action. At this point, more changes can be seen from the first version of this opening. Now that the villains have been revealed, their dark silhouettes have been filled out and colored. The camera transitions to showing the clock in the middle of the courtyard is now accelerating, both since time is now running out for the protagonists, as well as the main villain, Pucci, and his ability to accelerate time across the universe. Jolene's father appears and he uses his ability to stop time, but we see that his attack is cut short and he is attacked himself. What was once considered to be the strongest ability and character in the series is now facing down a threat that's unlike anything we've seen before in order to protect his daughter. Then, a sequence of animated manga panels show the progression of protagonists, starting with our first character, Jonathan Joestar, and ending on Jolene. In JoJo, every part gets a new member of the Joestar family to take the reins of main character as the torch is passed down through the family. And whether it's through happenstance or a nickname, all characters happen to be named Jojo, which is another sign of their familial bond connecting themselves to each other. This sequence that we see is actually one that's repeated and is being played in reverse. In part 1's opening, the sequence plays at the very start. The very first thing that we see is Jolene Cujo and her stand, Stone Free. Everything has come full circle, and we are at the end of this family's destiny. All previous journeys and tribulations have led to this moment. The borrowed symbolism continues as Jolene is placed in the final battle against her foe inside the Joestar mansion itself from part 1. A panning shot places all 6 protagonists next to one another, with their respective elements tied and connected to each other by strings. These strings could both represent the strings of fate as well as Jolene herself, as her powers allow her to turn her body into string, which you can see her use at the end. The opening ends with Jolene and Poochie squaring off with one another as they hover in the air covered in flames. Stone Free rears a fist back and strikes at the opponent. This is yet another callback to her father, as this same shot is used in part 3's opening. Heaven's Falling Down makes excellent use of visual rhetoric to unify the themes and characters within the series. The emotions and thoughts of the characters are easily readable, many motifs from past parts are repeated, and finally, all points serve to elevate Jolene and her mission, as it is the culmination of everything that's come before her.